Have you ever been playing your favorite game and just thought, how in the world did they make this? How does it go from just a tiny spark of an idea to this huge interactive world you can get lost in for hours? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on that incredible journey. And it really is a process that's just packed with creative sparks, sure, but also tons of technical hurdles and a huge amount of unpredictability. Games are notorious for delays. Sometimes they even get canceled altogether. And that's because you can't just follow some simple blueprint. You're not building a bridge here. You're trying to capture lightning in a bottle. You have to find the fun. So, okay, how do studios actually pull off this miracle? Well, they use a really powerful multi-stage development process. Think of it like a roadmap that guides them through all that chaos. It's a system that's designed to channel all that creative energy, building the game layer by layer on a really solid foundation. We're going to follow that roadmap through 5 key stages. First, taming the initial chaos, then creating a blueprint. After that, actually building the digital world, polishing it to perfection, and finally, launching the game and supporting it for all of us players. So, before a single line of code gets written, the biggest challenge is just giving some structure to this incredibly creative and, often chaotic process. Now, this process, it isn't some rigid formula. It's more like a toolbox for navigating that creative storm. By setting clear milestones, teams can avoid getting stuck just tweaking ideas forever. It gives them just enough structure to keep moving forward and, ultimately, to find out if the game's actually fun to play. All right, let's get into the first really critical phase. This is where a raw idea gets shaped into a concrete plan, all before the super expensive work really begins. At this stage, it is all about asking the big questions before you start building anything. Like, what kind of game is this? Who are we making it for? And maybe most importantly, can we even afford to make it? The core team gets together, defines the game's identity, checks out the market, and figures out exactly what it's going to take to bring this thing to life. And the results of all that planning is this, the Game Design Document, or GDD. You gotta think of this thing as the project's Bible. It details everything, from the story and characters to the core mechanics, making sure the entire team is working from the exact same script. But here's the thing, a document can't tell you if a game is fun. For that, you need prototypes. These are really quick, cheap, playable experiments designed to answer one simple question. Does this feel good? It's how developers test out ideas and find that fun before they commit millions of dollars to full production. Now, to get a project greenlit for full production, teams usually build one of 2 things. A vertical slice is like a super polished demo of one level, showing off what the final game will look and feel like. A horizontal slice, on the other hand, is the whole game, but in a really rough state, just to prove the core loop is engaging. And while both are useful, over 90% of the time, teams are going to bet on that shiny, polished vertical slice. So, with the blueprint approved, we enter production. This is the longest, most intensive phase where the game is actually built. We're talking hundreds of artists, programmers, and designers all working together, turning those concepts and all that code into a living, breathing digital world. So how do you even begin to build a game world? Well, it all starts with the basic things in that world. Like a character, a car, or a chest. In game engine terms, these are usually called actors or game objects. But an object is just an empty shell until you give it abilities. And those are called components. You add a visual component so you can actually see it, a physics component so it can bump into things, and maybe a health component so it can take damage. They're basically like Lego bricks of functionality that you just snap onto your object. And to work efficiently, which is key, developers bundle an object and all its components into a reusable template. It's called a prefab or a blueprint. This way, if they design one perfect dragon, they can instantly stamp out an entire army of them all across the game world. Super smart. But the single biggest danger during production is something called scope creep. This is when the project just slowly grows and grows beyond its original plan. One little cool new idea might seem harmless, but it can create this huge domino effect of delays and complications. Honestly, it's the #1 reason why so many games get delayed. Okay, let's move on to the stage where the game goes from being just functional to actually being fun and stable. This is all about hunting for bugs and really polishing the player experience. The first big milestone here is alpha. This means Every single feature is in the game, and you can play it from the very beginning to the very end. Now, it might be buggy, it might be ugly, and probably held together with digital duct tape, but the complete skeleton of the game is there. Then you hit beta. At this point, the game is content complete. All the levels, all the characters, all the assets, they're all in. The team's focus shifts completely from creating to refining. And trust me, a healthy polish phase is often what separates a great launch from a mediocre bug-riddled one.
This phase is just a massive testing effort. You've got dedicated QA testers whose whole job is to find bugs. You have engineers optimizing performance to make sure it runs smoothly. Compatibility teams are checking it on countless different PCs and consoles. And then finally, you've got a beta test with real players, which provides absolutely invaluable feedback before the big day.
And now for the final phase, but it's not really the end. For so many games these days, the launch is just the beginning of its life out there in the hands of players. The launch itself is this carefully orchestrated pipeline. While marketing is building hype with trailers, the technical teams are prepping the game for all the digital stores. But the moment it goes live, the work is far from over. The team is on high alert, monitoring servers and player feedback for any immediate fires that need putting out. And as you can see from this timeline, launch day is often just the beginning. Modern games are living services. They're constantly evolving. There's almost always a day one patch for last-minute fixes, then that's followed by months of updates based on what we, the players, are saying. And for many games, you're looking at years of new content to keep the community engaged.
So after seeing this entire incredibly complex process, from just a simple idea to a live game that's supported for years, what's the most important thing to remember here?
The key takeaway is really this. Game development isn't just art, and it isn't just engineering. It's this delicate dance between the two. It's all about building a framework that can contain that creative chaos just long enough for that miracle to happen, and transform a simple idea into the incredible, fun experiences that we all love to play.